This video is going to be showing you a solo Grandmaster Nightfall on a Hunter. For those who just want to see this, and skip to the timestamps that you have on the screen, on the video player. But further than that, I'll discuss the modifiers for the Grandmaster Warden and nothing, and the build I had on. So the modifiers for this Grandmaster are pretty basic, but there's some interesting things about it. So it's your typical run-of-the-mill Grandmaster modifiers. I'm not going to talk about them all. You know, you got chaff, match game, equipment locked. If you die, you go to orbit, extinguish, etc. So we all know about all that stuff, but what you might not know is there's no burn mod on. So there's no incoming void, arc, or solar, which is handy. It's handy to know this. It means we can better spec our resistance mods to what we want, rather than what the Nightfall dictates. So there is no burn mod. And also, there's free champions. So there's barriers, unstoppable, and overload. So we need to spec our setup for this, which makes it difficult. And I'll quickly explain why. The reason why it makes it difficult is because this is bad game design. I can only implement 2 weapon mods. Okay, this is really bad game design, and I don't know why they're doing this. What we should be doing, to quickly explain it, is each gun should have a artifact weapon slot here. So you've got your basic slots that you put your major spec, boss spec, etc. And right here, like it used to be, you select your mod. So I could have easily done overload hand cannon, anti-barrier scout, and unstoppable grenade launcher. I shouldn't be having to put that on armor. They need to change this. It is a flaw. But other than that, that's why it's difficult. Now there's multiple ways of getting your 3 champions mods. So we've got surge detonators, we've got unstoppable void melee, we've got all sorts, right? But these are class pieces, so you have to make a decision. Breach and clear is a +9, unstoppable void melee is a +2. You can't run the both, you see. So you need to make a decision. Depending on what you're using, depends on what's more valuable, which I'll get into. So we're using Hunter Wave, the Pathfinder bottom tree Nightstalker with Vortex Grenade and Gambler's Dodge for invisibility build. With the 6 Coyote exotic chestplate, if you want to use Omnioculus, do so. Whatever suits you. I see people do well with that one. I prefer the 6 Coyote. Whatever you want, but the invisibility build for the Hunter is going to be your best setup for this. It'll become clear why if you've not seen runs on it. Weapon wise, we're using the 7 Seraph Officer Revolver, a Vouchsafe Void Scout Rifle, and the exotic grenade launcher Anarchy. This is just for our first run, so I understand some people might not have it, but there are alternative ways of doing it, which I'll experiment with that through the week. But for now, we'll do a basic run, just showing you the basics of how someone can do it. So that's what we're using. So this has overload, this has anti-barrier scout, and we don't have unstoppable grenade launcher because, as I've just previously mentioned, we can't put 3 mods on. So we have to improvise and use breach and clear and power through the unstoppables with Anarchy, which you'll see. Other armor mods that we had on was a Warmind cell build, which is Warmind's Decree, Global Reach, Rage of the Warmind, and Wrath of Rasputin. Wrath of Rasputin generates cells on solar splash damage. Rage of the Warmind adds solar splash damage to the cells, so these two can coincide with each other. The Global Reach adds range to your cell. Warmind's Decree adds it's like a Wrath of Rasputin but for void splash damage. So your grenades and even Vouchsafe can create cells time to time with explosive payload. That's our setup. In terms of resistance, you want solar damage resistance, concussive dampener. I'll give more information about everything else in the run. Also, if you're struggling with mobility, run a Powerful Friends, which is on a arc piece. That will give you +20 mobility. Make sure that you're running 100% mobility. You're going to struggle if you don't do that. Ammo finders, scavenger perks on, etc. But that was the basics of the setup. So with like all these commentary runs, the Grandmaster ones are the most important to people because this is what people struggle with the most. So it makes sense. If you're going to ever do a commentary run, then these are the best ones to do it on. So with this starting section, if you do not aggro the adds with your weapon, don't shoot the adds, you can literally run past them. This isn't going to be any benefit to you if you're doing it on a Titan or a Warlock, because we're going to be skipping this room, but we will kill the champion, which you'll see here. So it's just a case of timing your dodges and your invises. Obviously, as I said earlier, it's not going to work as well if you don't have 100% mobility. You might get away with tier 9. You might get away with tier 9, but just use Powerful Friends, which has been sold a couple of times now. Again, if you don't have Powerful Friends, then you're going to have to put a bunch of mobility mods on your armor, 5, which that's going to be, well, you'll put 4 on it and then half of a mod because of your class piece, of course, so that's going to be 45 mobility just from mods alone. And you just need to make up the rest with your armor, which generally armor for hunters have a lot of mobility, a lot of the sets. So we'll skip this room to take this Minotaur. As you can see, I've found an angle on the Minotaur. Obviously, if I was just out in the open, the Minotaur's going to wreck me, so I can strafe in and out of cover. The funny thing about Grandmasters is that you use PvP techniques to stay alive, even though we're playing in PvE. So those rules apply, strafe in and out. Obviously, PvP, you know, you're playing against a person, that's different. But your movement matters so much. You need to be actually watching the enemy fire. It's something I've never really paid attention to, in D2 at least, when you're actually judging AI movement to this detail, this level of detail. In Grandmasters it's kind of important, and I found myself having done the Grandmaster solos since they've came out. I mean, I didn't engage with them the first season, but I sort of did slowly after that. That they do actually improve you as a player in terms of judging AI movement, etc. So it's one of those things, if you're struggling with your GMs and you keep failing your solo, that's not time lost, that's time you've actually practiced, you've actually got a little bit better. Even if you're failing the run, eventually you'll succeed the run. Okay, it's just a case of you just need to get used to soloing these Grandmasters. They're not meant to be played fast. There's people out there that can play them fast, but forget about them, because that's not you. You're wanting to learn. If you're somebody who's wanting to learn it, then just take it slow, you know, and go from there. So with this section, you do want to clear the Hydra, which I can shoot through the barrier of the Hydra with my Scout, because anti-barrier rounds penetrates a lot of different shields, not just anti-barrier champions. It does other utility, like this Phalanx. I can shoot right through his shield and get a crit on him, which speeds that up. Now this is going to be the most difficult part for people, I would say, because I'm running only 2 mods, Barrier and Overload, and I haven't spec'd for Unstoppable. So it's going to make things slower, but you have got Breach and Clear, so you'll be able to power through it that way. So my idea is, use 1 or 2 Anarchy shots. You could use 1 at a time to really manage your ammo if you wanted, just so that you're getting a debuff, and then use your Scout or your hand cannon, and just take things slow. You can push up. The thing is, once you push up, the Unstoppable will be on a chase with you constantly, even if you're going invis dodge. Because of how the invis dodge works on bottom tree, it's not true invis. You're safe-ish, but you're not 100% safe. Top tree Nightstalker is a little bit different with the invis, as you can lose tracking on champs. But this invis, not so. So what I do with this champion, rather than, you know, have him chase after me, just let him sit back here where I can just keep doing Anarchy and then scout him down slowly. That way I'm not spamming too much Anarchy, because, you know, you might not get the drops that you want, so you need to be prepared for that. Once he's finishable, you can go in for the kill, of course. Be sure to be using GL Ammo Finder and GL Ammo Scavenger. GL Ammo Scavenger is only +1 on your mod, because it's artifact, so be sure to put that on, because your ammo is so important. This will be our first anti-barrier to deal with. What I like to do is, you need to position yourself somewhere so that you use the least amount of ammo, and he's easy to hit, and the champion can't hit you. So I do an invis here, then a dodge at this ledge, and then the champion cannot be hitting us. It'll just hit the floor in front of you. So this is handy to get damage on him. let Anarchy do the work. Your scout, sometimes if you've got an explosive payload weapon, sometimes you can blow up Anarchy's shots. There's ways and means to prevent that from happening, i.e. shoot a different body part. But the barriers are very small in terms of their body, so you can still blow it up. So just let Anarchy do the work. You don't have to be doing constant DPS to these champions. Let Anarchy do the work, get your shield breaks with your scout, and then re-Anarchy up. But you can generally kill a champ within 2 Anarchy shots if they're well timed and a Vortex Grenade. You can do it. But if you don't do it so well timed, you maybe spend 3 ammo. 3 ammo on a champ's fine. If you're using 3 Anarchy per barrier, that's okay. Where your ammo's going to get up is the unstoppable. So this next section here, this is why we've ran up onto this platform. Because if we jump down there, you're going to have to play Ring Around the Rosie with the unstoppable. We don't need to do that, because they've sort of changed with the way this section works. So I remember last time doing this and the unstoppable wasn't pushing like he is in this, like this time. So I've done a lot of Warden and Nothings last season. I think it was last season of the Chosen, and unstoppable wasn't pushing like he is now. But that's fine, we can use that to our advantage. The train can take the champion out for you as long as you tag the champion. So there's ways and means of baiting him out like that. But if you just want to do it safely, you can just do it from up here. Just keep doing Anarchy on him. Try to spend my ammo as far as possible. Be careful of the lingering damage. Solar resistance is going to help out massively for this, because there's a lot of champions that do solar. The boss does solar. He also does void. There's a bit of void in this as well. But overall, the best resistance is solar damage resist with a concussive. The concussive will help you survive a Cabal nade. Now Scorched Earth's on, meaning ads will throw a lot of nades. There's a chance you get stuck by that. If the nade sticks you, Concussive Dampener will save it. Also solar resist will play a part into that, because the nade is solar. So that's why it's so important to have the right resistance numbers on. So if your 6 Coyote is a different element, then I maybe suggest changing it for this week. Or even better yet, keep 3 6 Coyotes or 3 Omnioculuses, whatever you want to use. But have 3 so that you've got all resistance covered, arc, void, solar, for whatever nightfall or for whatever raid you need it for. We'll take this barrier from here because he has range drop off, so he won't shoot you at a certain distance, so we can safely take him with the Anarchy and the Scout. Pretty easy with that, pretty straightforward. Be sure to pick up all ammo drops, including primary. All ammo is very important, because each weapon has its job, so you need to make sure you do that. This is the first proper room, if you like. You can play a lot of things from distance with this, so it's not too difficult, but you just need to be making sure you're not getting caught off guard. The solar resist will help out against snipers. It will prevent them from one-shotting us. But if you get double shot from 2 snipers, which is possible, it can happen in a blink of an eye if you're in the wrong position, and not everyone can react to that. So you want a safeguard in place, and that's where the solar resist will come into work. You can actually shoot through the hobgoblins, the legendaries. Their immunity, they're just sort of similar to the barrier champions, just they're a minor version, if you like. That's where they got the idea for barrier champions from, the hobgoblins, because they regen health. So they essentially got the idea from them. We're going to kill the Hydra from back here. The reason being is if you push up too far, ads will pop. They will come in. So what we're doing is killing the Hydra before we spawn in the ads. The trigger is distance. When we do that, we also have a cell which I swapped to my Ikelos Revolver. Before Anarchy killed the Hydra, I swapped to Revolver. That then procs a cell, because you get a cell for every ultra you kill. I guarantee. For minors, it's 4 or 5 kills. It's less. but for ultras, yellow bars, it's a guarantee. So we can control when we get cells and what have you. Any cells you get, try and make that a priority, but watch your left and right, top left and right of your screen. You can see there, top left of my screen, there's a barrier peak shooting me every now and then. You just need to keep an eye on that. You'll see me get caught off guard a couple of times with snipes. I think it was on this run at least. Now we're going to take the first barrier champion to our left. It's important which order you do this. Whichever one you're going to do, just make sure that you can only see one sniper, one of the barriers. There's a barrier left and right, of course. I like to take the barrier on the left first because the barrier on the right's harder for me. So rather than try to, dodge two snipers while trying to take the right, I just take the left. Which, as you can see, you can just do it from here. The trains come past every now and then, of course. They can do a lot of things. They can mess up your stuns on champions, so you've got to really time to the trains. There's no teaching on that. It's just a feel for it. The more you do it, the more you'll think, okay, the train's about to come. I need to time it around about now. I need to do my Anarchy shot about now, and then you'll be sort of not failing because of the trains. The trains can also knock Warmind cells, ammo bricks, everything. Which can be annoying at times, especially if you had a cell and it's perfect to be shot and the cell gets knocked to somewhere you don't want it to be. It can be unfortunate. This is a good angle to take the right side barrier because none of the ads can see us, only the barrier. And that's just by hiding just slightly to the left, and that makes all the difference. It makes things easier. The way this room works is if you don't kill one of the Minotaurs, you'll get an extra spawn of goblins, which are orange bars. Which I didn't try and get the extra spawn, but it doesn't really matter too much. The boss has spawned in now, the mini boss. It's a case of we're going to Anarchy him once or twice, and then the rest is scout. Just to save up on ammo, and we can also use our tether on the mini boss, which I'm going to show you now. This is important that you take one of the Minotaurs out. There's two void shielded Minotaurs, okay? That's why we've got a void weapon on. If you leave both of them live, one of them will flank you round the stairs because it's smart AI. Flank you, and they can one shot. They can come up to you and just one shot melee you. So just be careful of getting flanked, and that can be easily done because you've got chaff on. There's no radar. But if you kill one of the void Minotaurs, that won't happen to you because that's the sort of thing of the AI. They're more confident when they're in pack, when they're in a pack. When there's only one left, i.e. one of the Minotaurs, they won't push you. So you can just take the mini boss down with your Anarchy and whatnot, and then you can be all the ads will despawn. There's no extra champs in this room, and you can go on forward. My ammo position's really good. I've got max scout, max hand cannon, max Anarchy. You always want to be keeping an eye on your ammo. So for this section, there's going to be two unstoppable champions. There's no more anti-barriers in this room, just unstoppables. As I said, we haven't got unstoppable grenade launcher on because of we must have a overload weapon on. The thing is, this season we only have surge detonation, which is stun champions with pulse grenade, with arc grenades, any arc grenade, not just pulse. And we have the Warmind version, which I'm not a massive fan on for GMs. Lower content, yeah, it's fine. So we haven't got much options for overloads this season. Okay, so it has to be hand cannon. Hand cannons are the most consistent. I don't know if there's overload SMG. I can't mind. There is. There's overload SMG. Don't be using SMG in this. So the hand cannon is the best thing, and you must use it no matter what you're doing in the GM. I can't imagine doing it without a hand cannon in this, to be honest. Because as I said, with overload SMG or overload pulse grenade, it's not enough to kill a champ in one stun. unless you're possibly using Lament with Loosened Blade. That could work, but again, there's a lot to that. If you miss your nade, your run could be over. So with these Unstoppables, what I've worked out with them is that you can come back to this area here and they won't push you. Even though they're meant to, they don't. They'll push you to this door and then they'll retreat. So we can use that to our advantage and spam nades in that door with your Anarchy, and that'll do quite a bit of damage despite them not being actually stunned. We just keep backing up, avoiding his fire. Just be careful of that, of course. If you stand in the lingering damage, it does do a lot of damage to you as well. Just keep using our scout. I highly recommend that if you haven't already, that you farm up this scout. Scout rifles getting a buff in PvE, so are hand cannons, which they're going to come back to D1 levels, I would assume. Maybe not quite as much, but they're already actually okay. Like an explosive scout rifle in this game is one of the best primaries in the game, like right now. People have this misconception that scouts aren't good in PvE right now. Yes, they are, but bows are better. Bows are the scout rifles of Destiny 2. So the equivalent to what scouts were in D1. Bows are the best primary weapons in the game. An explosive payload bow does immense damage, okay, to Grandmasters. You can one-shot adds. They're so good. Bows are so good. When we get a bow season again, I'm looking forward to it if we do. But I'm also looking forward to the fact that we're going to get scouts buffed, so it's going to feel a bit better. The only problem I have with that is if Anti-Barrier Scout or Overload Scout isn't up next season, then what's the point? They'll buff Scouts, but we won't be using them in endgame. So they need to make sure that it's Anti-Barrier or Overload, or even Unstoppable. Just make it sure that Scouts up as one of the mods. That's what they need to do. And hand cannons as well. So that people can actually try out the buffs in endgame, because it doesn't really matter in patrol or what have you, or you know, base level strikes or whatever you're doing, or gambit, but it matters in your endgame stuff. So that was the two champions that took a long time, because as I said, no Unstoppable, but we can't run free mods on the gauntlets, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So now we're going to skip this section. If you do not have the ammo, I recommend you don't. Kill the ads from distance. It's pretty easy, this section, and you may get chance of a brick. It depends how much ammo you've got. I would say anything at 20 ammo, you're good. You're good to come to the skip that bit. Okay, so this is the main section that people are going to struggle with. There's a lot of champions to deal with. Right now at the start section, you've got, let's see, an Anti-Barrier Colossus, 2 Anti-Barrier Vex, a Overload Minotaur, and an Unstoppable Champion. Now they will fight each other, which is a very good thing. We can use it to our advantage. If you do get a cell like that, be sure to prioritize it safely though, just to make sure, because you want to kill out all the minor ads, all the goblins and the cabal, because they're also a threat. They could almost one-shot you. So they're as much as a threat as maybe a champion. You need to take every ad as that. Every ad is a threat to you, even two ads. So make sure the whole room's clear. The 2 snipers, they need to be clear, as in the red bars. And then what you want to do is focus on the mines. So there's mines all around this map. For those who don't know, it's a Destiny 1 section of Prison of Elders, which was the file room where you fought a lot of Prison of Elders bosses. There was multiple, but there was Skolos, the most famous one. Basically, with this section, as I said, you want to take out all the mines, because if you don't, when you capture the points on A, B and C, the mines could blind you, stun you, and then you get killed by the ads. So this section where I'm standing here is really good for taking out a lot of the champions. Take down the Colossus first, because the Colossus will hit you from here sometimes. If that happens, you have no real cover so much, and you can't head glitch from here. So the Colossus needs to go. Take the Colossus out. You'll then be left with the 2 anti-barrier goblins, Unstoppable and Overload. Now this can be kind of annoying with the Overload Minotaur. There's a bit of RNG with this in terms of where does the Overload push the Unstoppable. Sometimes the Overload will go behind the bridge where you can't see the Minotaur to get reliable stuns. Depends on your positioning. Depends on the position of the champ, sorry. So it's a case of you could either do the 2 barriers from up here if you wanted to, and then do the Overload at the very end, which you'll be able to do. So he'll just stand there while you shoot at him. He won't be aggroed by a champion, i.e. the Unstoppable or the barriers, because you'll kill them already. But it is kind of difficult to kill the Unstoppable before the Minotaur. So it's better to sort of kill a Minotaur if you can before the Unstoppable. Which, if you keep getting your stuns with your explosive payload hand cannon, which you really need that if you haven't got an explosive payload hand cannon, you're going to struggle getting stuns like this. It's just not going to work as good. You could use Fatebringer. It's got explosive payload on it, and it will do the job. It just won't make cells. Firefly will with Wrath of Rasputin, but it won't be the same as what the Revolver is. It's not quite as good for what we're exactly doing here. Fatebringer's got other perks. Great weapon. I've been enjoying using it. But when you just want to sell, you want a cell setup, then the Revolver's just better. So we're going to take out the remaining barriers. Now I've left the Unstoppable alive because the Unstoppable is going to assist us with damage. So this is the beauty of this, because the champions fight each other. You're going to get some free damage from the enemies, so why not do it? And also the barriers cannot hide from you here, whereas if you go down there, it's completely different trying to take the barriers down there. You can, totally do it, but from up here they don't fight you back so much, so it makes it easy as long as you're good in with Anarchy and what have you. If you want to do 1 Anarchy at a time, you don't have to do 2, but you can take it slow. As long as you're getting your consistent stuns on your shields, your shield breaks, then you should be good. This Unstoppable's pretty much weak, and we haven't done any damage to him really. That's basically been from all the other adds. So if you take maybe slightly longer than me, it's fine. That's actually okay, because the Unstoppable will have took more damage from the rest of the adds, which works in your favour. All we need to get is for him to be finishable. Just bear in mind, once you kill the last champion alive, the next encounter starts, and you need to be in position. You need to have ammo ready, you need to have everything up and ready, dodges, smokes. You need to be on the, right on the button with it. So don't kill the champion until you're ready. I wasn't. You saw my ammo count for my primaries. That would be very bad if I started it right now, because if I don't have barrier ammo for when this ABC capture points start, I have failed the run. The mines will kill you, you will go to orbit. So this is the most pinnacle part of the whole run, to get it right. If you don't get this right, your run's done. You've just wasted 30 minutes or 20 minutes, or however long it took you. So I'm ready for ammo, I'm fine. There's a cannon at the back, but I don't recommend you need to use it, because the way I'm going to do this, you're going to see how we sort of optimize this. So I do an Anarchy shot at this location here as a trap. The 3 goblins will die. If you get a cell, don't shoot it, try not to. As the cell, which I'm just going to explain quickly. So we'll come to this location here. We're going to spam a bit of Anarchy for time. As you can see, capture point A has got 45 seconds. So we've got that sort of time to... It's plenty of time, I guess, but there's also the Unstoppable. But if you shoot the cell, see what's happening right now. What's actually going on is there's an Unstoppable right behind that wall fighting goblins. We want that, so that the Unstoppable doesn't push us, because we won't have the time. I guess you would have the time. It will be tight to kill the Unstoppable while you capture the points, because we haven't got unstoppable grenade launcher on. So it's going to take forever, and we need plates to capture. So this will cost us platinum, because we didn't take out this champion right here. But he's fighting the Vex, so that you can capture the B and C without having to fight the unstoppable. There's an overload that you don't need to kill for platinum, but the unstoppable you do need to kill, I believe. Problem is on our loadout, we just haven't got the time to kill him. So, apologise about that, it's not going to be the platinum run, but I have another setup in mind that would work better, where we've got all three weapon mods, so we've got unstoppable to rapidly kill an unstoppable. We just haven't got the time to do it. Now we're just going to dodge invis on capture point C. And that's it, collected. And all the ads will despawn, the champion will despawn, both the champions. As I said, there's an overload Minotaur knocking about. You won't maybe have saw him, but he's generally near B area, near the hill. But the unstoppable, just to clarify, you do need to kill him for platinum, which I didn't on this particular run. But this is the first run of the week, and I'll be doing more runs, other alternative loadouts that may surprisingly work better than what this run did, because we just got barrier and overload on. I could have ran unstoppable melee. The problem with that is you wouldn't run breach and clear, so this is more of an easy clear run. In hindsight, I would have been better off just running unstoppable void melee and just sort of get rid of breach and clear. Just everything's going to be a bit more difficult for you though without breach and clear. So with this yellow bar here, we can use the cannon for DPS. So remember the cannon, we didn't pick it up for the ads because we didn't need it, but we can utilise the cannon and save on ammo. You can also spam your grenades. You can do dodging invis at the base of the tower. Be careful not to jump too close, because he stomped me there. He didn't kill me, but it's something to be aware of. Don't get too close. We'll do one Anarchy just to finish him off, as there's a lot of nades coming my way. I could have killed more ads in this section, but I wanted to get it over with, I guess. And I also have a heavy brick at the back of the room, so I'm pretty much good enough on heavy anyways. If I didn't have that brick, I'd be looking at killing more of these ads in a chance of getting more Anarchy, because there's still 4 champions to take, a overload, 2 barriers and unstoppable. So we need to make sure we've still got max primary, which you will have. You'll have the bricks on the floor to get that. And then as much heavy as you can. Now this is very important. I might make a video about it. I might make a video showing you, or I might not. Basically on this being a bug. So you can see this dialogue now between Drifter and the Warden. Right, and they're talking along. You need to let that dialogue finish and wait a couple of seconds. If you claim the treasure while the dialogue is happening, you will bug the Nightfall out, and you will not be able to claim any Grandmaster rewards, and it will not count for your Conqueror Gilded title. I done a solo Grandmaster before this. I done the whole thing. It bugged out. I spawned the boss in, managed to spawn him in, but none of the champions did. So when I done it, it didn't count as a GM clear. You need to make sure champions are spawning here. If it hasn't, then I'm sorry, it's bugged out, and you'd have to restart your Nightfall. And just do the tip that I said. Don't claim the treasure too soon. It's like that, the mission where, which mission was it? It was when Crow was first introduced. We're doing those missions where you fight the knight and you do the objective too quick. It's just the same thing as that. Just take your time claiming the chest, and you'll find the champions will spawn in when you do that. Don't be impatient. So, what's the best way of dealing with this bit? Well, I would honestly say, I did have a bit of bother with it, but I would say take the overload first, because you're going to find that the anti-barrier Colossus and the other champions are going to help you do damage to the Minotaur. You just need to keep that constant stun rate. Just time your shots. You don't need to spam your hand cannon. You just need to do it a couple of shots at a time. That's why I run backup mag in my hand cannon. I don't run the major spec. I think having, on my particular role anyways, it's 15 and it has drop mag. So I prefer it like that so I can get my stuns. Whereas if I ran major spec with 11 bullets for my particular hand cannon, it's not as good. The 8% damage buff isn't worth it because I can get more shots off and get the consistent stuns. For this particular hand cannon, there might be other hand cannons that work better with the major spec. It's not all the same. Okay? Just what I do for this particular role I've got. Now, the next champion you want to take is the Unstoppable. You want to do the Unstoppable next, as if you, when you go down in the arena, these champions are going to push you. Well, that Unstoppable will at least. So to avoid that, because you haven't got Unstoppable on, because you're going to increase risk of you dying. Yes, you can dodge invis out of that, but you've got champions shooting at you, or could possibly kill you. So you want to take it slow, and just take the Unstoppable from up top. Try an Anarchy when he stops. Eventually do the same thing. He'll go to the middle of the map or middle of the arena. He'll do a blast wave. That's your chance to do Anarchy and get a debuff going. You can even use your tether on the Unstoppable because your tether's not needed for anything. It's not needed for boss damage. It's not needed for the super's not really useful for this. Your ammo's more useful. But when you're trying to kill an Unstoppable, save on ammo and use your super on that instead. Which I do end up using eventually. Try to save some barrier ammo as well, because you're going to need some barrier ammo for the 2 barriers of course. And if you don't get a primary brick, you could be in trouble. Try not to spam too much scout while you're up here. Wait until you get down. Let your hand cannon do a bit of the work. Use the tether. The Unstoppable's basically finishable, but I didn't want to go down there just yet. Taking the slow approach. I think this Nightfall, because as I said it was up last season, it was probably an easier one last season than it is this season. Even though we got Breach and Clear, it was still a easier one last season because we had Overload Bow, Anti-Barrier Scout. So it was sort of easier that way, I think. We also had Unstoppable Soul and Melee, so that was actually handy, especially on a Warlock. Top tree, really good on the Warlock that, but that's not up this season's void. So now the next barrier to take is the Colossus. You cannot leave the Colossus alive for any moment of time if you're trying to do the glitch on this, as he will just melt you from any sort of angle. So you don't want to be peeking him at all. Let Anarchy do the work. Go into cover when you need. If you, depending on how close you are to him, you can't get the stun straight away. Like peeking out of cover, getting your shots, because they can melt. The solar resist will help you out with those. They do wreck. The hobgoblins aren't so threatening. The snipers are, but this one in particular isn't a sniper. Okay, so now we're going to go for the ammo run, and this is going to show you how to exploit the boss. So there's 3 or 4 exploits I know at minimum on this, but we want to get a dodge invis near the champ, leave the champ alive. This is important to the strategy, and if you make the following jumps I just made, you're safe. This is going to be your safe zone to damage the boss and complete the fight easily. You can also kill the champion from up here to trigger the fight, which obviously we need to do. You'll find that the champion won't hide from you, so he's there just to clearly shoot. Use an Anarchy or two. If you want to, you don't have to. You can just take them with your scout. And that will spawn in the boss. There's a couple of things to know about this zone. So you can jump to and from the building itself, and there's a platform to my right. But you do get join allies at certain sections. If you do get join allies, like right now, you need to move around on the platform to make sure it goes away. It's not RNG. There's actually places where you can and can't stand. I find on the left side of this platform where I'm standing, you don't need to move, only back and forward. Like if ads are pushing you, you can go back a little bit and then crouch like so. So none of the ads can see us. Because you'll find a lot of the ads do shoot at you, especially some Minotaurs and stuff. So you gotta be careful. So it's just a case of Anarchy the boss when possible, which isn't too hard to do. He'll be aggroed on you. When you do so much damage though, because of how the spawns work, he'll go Cabal. If it says Servant is spawning Cabal, he goes the opposite side to us, which means we can't get any extra damage in. If he's spawning, like right now he's spawning in Cabal, so he's going to be on the opposite side, we can't do any extra damage. If he spawns in Vex though, you can do massive damage on him, because you spawn on our side, which you'll see in a bit. I'm just going to clear out some Scions while the boss is sort of rotating over, which takes his time. If you want to aggro the boss, just shoot your gun at the ground. That will work. It's just a case of Anarchying him. Missed a couple of shots there, it's fine though. We do have heavy on the floor, which will explain how we're going to get ammo back. So we've only got 7 Anarchy left, and the boss is about a third coming up to, so we're going to need more heavy, of course. But as I said, there'll be a ammo sort of trick that we do. It's not a trick, it's an inbuilt mechanic, which I'll explain when we get to it. So the boss is now spawning in Vex, as I said, but we can do massive damage because you can do quick 2 Anarchy shots while he's stationary, so he's doing his solar wave attack. The solar wave can't hit you from here, but if you push up too far forward on this platform, the solar attack will kill you very quickly. So be cautious when you're doing that. Just do the 2 Anarchy shots, step back. Let Anarchy do that, the damage, and then you can continue fighting a couple of the ads. Make a Cellar 2 if you can. That'll clear more ads. It may give you more chances for ammo, because we're going to be able to pick up all that ammo without going down there. Again, he's spawning Vex, which is our cue to do some damage. Now I'm going to start to waste some ammo. So just to quickly explain this, what's going on, because I see so many videos where people are doing solo GMs and people are commenting their videos saying, how does he get ammo? What is going on? And not a lot of people are aware. So this mechanic originated from Destiny 1. Basically, when you run out of all weapon ammo, so if it's primary, special, heavy, if you zero in all of those, you're going to have to, the game's going to eventually spawn you ammo. Now, it won't always do that straight away because the game will register to see if there's ammo on the floor. That's the first thing it does. And then because if you'll notice sometimes bricks will disappear, what's happening is the game is giving you that ammo off the floor and putting it into your weapon after a set amount of time. Sometimes it's a bit of randomness. I don't know the exact mechanics behind it, but sometimes you can get full ammo without any ammo on the floor. So if you are in a solo GM of any kind, waste all your ammo, sometimes you can get a percentage of your ammo off full. Now I got full. I believe I only had 1 or 2 bricks on the floor, so it gave me extra. Again, I don't know the exact mechanics behind it, but all I do know is waste all your ammo. If you're in cover, just wait, and then you'll get ammo back. I'm just spamming Anarchy at this point. I know it caps out at 2 shots, but I'm just spamming it just to get it done with. But that's how to easily do the fight on this. There's nothing too difficult about this run. Mainly just the unstoppables for me because I didn't run an unstoppable mod, which next time I probably should have done and scrap breach and clear. But that's a run on it regardless. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.